Hello shooters, thanks for watching. I'm going to start a new series called Training Scars. What's a training scar? Training scars, not the scars we may get on our hands or our knees or whatever when we're out doing shooting drills and stuff. Training scars are habits that we've picked up along the way that are detrimental to our health should we get in a gunfight. Training scars can get us killed. So once we identify what a training scar is, we need to work to overcome it and replace it with something that won't be detrimental to our health. There's numerous sources for training scars. One of the sources for training scars is instructors. I've been taught training scars by other instructors, and it's only that I found out later that that was a training scar I had to overcome. Another source of training scars is competition. There's things that you do in competition that if you did in a real gunfight would probably get you killed. And then there's all kinds of stuff on the internet that can produce training scars. So training scars are something we want to identify and eliminate. We want to overcome our training scars. So one of the reasons training scars are so prevalent is because we practice on shooting ranges. We go to classes on shooting ranges. We go to shooting ranges to practice on our own. We go to shooting ranges to have fun. Shooting ranges are not the real world. Here's your typical shooting range. Notice that it's flat. There's no tripping hazards because we don't want anybody following when they're carrying loaded firearms. But by the same hand, this also does not reflect the real world because the real world is not like this. This is more like the real world. Here's a parking garage. There's a curb over there that you can trip against. Here's a stairs going up and down, industrial type stairs. This is kind of a small alleyway. This is a parking lot like your typical Walmart parking lot. Here's an apartment complex, how dark it is. You don't know what's there. You could trip on anything. It's definitely not the same as a shooting range. So we need to practice for what these situations are like, not what's at a shooting range. And even inside an office building type deal. Shooting ranges are very scripted. They're not the real world. And even if you go to a course, the instructor is going to tell you when it's okay to shoot, what direction you can shoot. The targets are going to be standing still, they're cardboard or something else. So even in a training class, it's not the real world. It's fantasy land, really. We as the instructors, we want to control the ground. We want to make sure there's no tripping hazards. We want to make sure everybody's safe because we don't want anybody to go home with any extra holes in them. So it's easy to see why training scars are induced into us, but they're something we have to eliminate. Pat McNamara calls them institutional inbreeding. And in many of the cases, that's where training scars come from. Because you go to a class and you learn how to do something a certain way, and later on you become an instructor, and you teach it the same way you were taught, without regard to whether or not that is valid or it's something that ought to be done. A prime example is the guy that got married and his wife buys a ham. She cuts the front half off the ham and a little bit off the back, and she took it and he said, "Why are you cutting the front part and the back part off the ham?" "Well, that's the way my mother taught me." So the next time he's with his mother-in-law, he says, "Hey, you know, my wife fixed a ham and she cut the front part off and the back part off before she cooked. I just wonder why she learned it from you. Just wonder why." She goes, "Well, that's the way my mother taught me." Next time he goes to his wife's grandmother's house, he said, "Hey, you know, my wife, she cuts the front part off the ham, the back part off the ham, and I asked, you know, your daughter, her mother, and she does the same thing because they learned it from you. And, you know, why do you?" And she says, "Well, if you'll notice in my kitchen, I have a very small oven, so I have very small pans. So when I bought the ham, I had to cut it off in order to fit the pan to go." See, so the mother and the daughter had training scars. Not going to kill you with the ham, but you understand how those training scars started. So what we're going to do is we're going to identify training scars, and then it's up to you to eliminate them if you want to. It's always your choice. But I'll show you the training scars that I've had to overcome, or I've found out about, or I've seen in classes of people coming that have been to another class or whatever. I hope you enjoy the series. I hope you learned something from it. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.